Hey, it's me, Quinn, strayfoto.com. I want to take a minute today and talk about some of the different mounting options that we have for the GoPro cameras. I've been using the GoPro for quite a few years now, and I've kind of settled into a rhythm and a pattern with my different mounting options. I thought we'd take a look at these, kind of compare them, and I'll give you my opinion at the end, so stick around. I wanted to take a minute today and talk about the different mounting options for my GoPro cameras. I've been using GoPro since, I don't know, the early beginning at least. 2, 3 silver, black, plus, minus, 4 black, plus, minus, session. And I always thought they were, well, kind of crappy to be honest. I mean, poor battery life, it's difficult to work with. The connection to the phone was pretty crappy. Anyway, with the 5 and the 6 now out, I think they've become great cameras. I really like them. I know they take a beating on the internet. My personal opinion is if you formed your opinion of GoPro with like the 3 or the 3 black, then yeah, I don't blame you for thinking they're stupid. But the 5 and the 6 are pretty awesome cameras. I'm actually filming this right now on the Hero 5, and I've got the Hero 6 right here. I've got a Session over here. I think they're great, man. I love using them. I think they're compact enough to take just about anywhere, and with the addition of 4K and the higher frame rate, they do great video. Over the years, I've mounted them a bunch of different ways, and I've kind of fallen into a pattern, or I've found a few ways to mount them that I like. Maybe I can offer you my opinion on the way that I mount them and the way that I use them, and maybe it'll help you decide if you're new to it or if you're looking for a different way to mount it or carry it. So let's check it out. Well, the first is the Ram mount suction cup. I love this thing. I think these things are awesome. The suction cup is pretty burly. It's fairly affordable. It's like 20 bucks for the suction cup. You're looking at 8 to 10 bucks for this section here between the base and the top of the camera. You can get arms in different lengths. This is an aluminum arm. I think it's too heavy. I have a composite one that I actually prefer, but you get quite a good range of motion with this, moving it all around. I like to use this for doing time-lapse videos in my truck. I like to stick it to the windshield of my truck, face it forward, do a time-lapse. And I almost always have my Session, my Hero 5 Session on here. I almost never take it off anymore. Yeah, I think it's great. The suction cup, it works well. Yeah, I just think they're great. Sometimes they'll fall off the windshield, but it's pretty rare. Generally speaking, if you have if you leave it on overnight and it gets really cold and then really warm the next day, sometimes the suction cup will fail. But generally speaking, I've had good luck with these. I love it. I think the Ram mount is one of the better mounts and better things to spend your money on as far as GoPros go, especially if you want to do a forward-facing time-lapse like while you're driving or on a road trip or something. I think it's great for that. One of the things I bought a few years back was this handle called the 3-way. GoPro calls it the 3-way. This is a cheap Chinese knockoff I got from Amazon for, I don't know, 20, 25 bucks. The GoPro one is $55. They're identical. And while I find a use for it maybe 2 times a year, most of the time it's a bag queen. It sits in my bag, it takes up space. I don't use it very often. And it does allow you to get, the camera a little bit away from you. If you want to do kind of a selfie style thing where you've got it out there, it's not so bad. And sometimes the way that you can move the handle into different positions allows you to get a little bit creative with where you can move the camera. Again, I use it 2 or 3 times a year, and I don't hate it, but I've never fallen in love with it either. I definitely wouldn't spend the 55 bucks on the GoPro version, I can tell you that much. But that's me. I've seen other people use these all the time. They love them. I think it's a little heavy. I use my GoPro a lot for filming when I'm trail running and whatnot, and for me, the weight on this, which is 8 ounces, it's just too much. It's not a bad accessory. It's just not one I've fallen in love with. I have this Ultrapod 2, and I've had this for years and years and years. And for a long time, this was kind of my go-to tripod for the GoPro, or my go-to way to carry the GoPro around. Put the cage on top of there. Bam. I really enjoy it, but it, again, is a little bit large for what I use it for. I do a lot of running. It's not outrageously heavy, but it's a little bit heavy, and it's a little bit big. I've actually replaced this with an older version of the same tripod. This is called the Ultrapod original, not the Ultrapod 2. This is the original Ultrapod from 1982. Still on the market, still made in the USA. This thing is 12 bucks, and I love it. It weighs 3.25 ounces with the cage on it, and it's got this little ball head that you can see maybe kind of right there that allows us quite a good range of motion. I mean, it's not the same as you'd get from a big fancy ball head, but as far as a GoPro goes, man, you really can't beat this, I don't think. It's got a pretty good adjustment. It's pretty easy to tighten this up. I love it. What I do is I'll put my GoPro in here. Smash this down, and then I have like a fleece cover that I've just sewed, a little fleece bag. Put that over it. Bam, throw that in my bag wherever I go, and I keep this fleece on all the time to just kind of protect the lens from getting buggered up and the screen on the back from getting scratched or beat. And I found this thing to be super useful. With this Velcro strap, I've strapped it to signposts, to trees, to bushes. I've put it at the end of a walking stick to get more of a, like that kind of a selfie style thing out there. I found this to be pretty useful. It's 12 bucks. I mean, you can't. It's 12 bucks and it's made in the USA. I find it really difficult to complain about this too much with the price and as well as it works and as much as I've used it. I do have what I would argue is kind of the main competition to that, which is the GoPro Shorty. This is GoPro branded. It's outrageously expensive for what it is. It's 30 bucks. A little tiny tripod that does that. It does have a little bit of an extension, which I will admit is pretty cool. It only goes forward and backward. You've got this little knurled nut here, and really this, you know, it'll move forwards and back, and that's it. That's the only adjustment you can get out of it. It won't go side to side. The extension handle is cool. One thing I like about this is the where you grab it, where you actually grip the handle, is comfortable. It's very ergonomic, and you can get it out there a little ways, do a kind of a selfie style thing. I think this is a pretty well designed product. I think it's overpriced. It slides in and out of your pocket real easy though. There's no edges to catch on it. It weighs the exact same as the Ultrapod. It's 3.2 ounces. The Ultrapod's 3.25, virtually identical. And that's with the cage on them. So it just kind of depends on what you want. I like this if I'm just going to be cruising around town. I don't really think I'm going to go outside anywhere or out in the wilderness where there's uneven ground. It's one thing I really like about the Ultrapod is the ability, if you've got it set up on any sort of an uneven surface, is the ability to then fine-tune your level on your camera, which this completely lacks. So another good thing I like about both these is the size and the portability. They're both easy to have. You can have it attached to your camera almost all the time and really never feel the pain of having it on there. I mean, you could argue that you could hold the GoPro by hand, but that always ends up making weird sounds and a little more shaky. I like having something to hold on to. One of the other bonuses about the Ultrapod compared to the Shorty is that it's a little bit more versatile because you can take the GoPro cage off and you can just go ahead and throw. You really can put any point and shoot you want on there. So I find it to be quite a bit more versatile. This has got the GoPro mount itself. You know, it's hard mounted on there. You're not taking it off. You can't change that at all. So this is GoPro only. I find this to be a lot more versatile. So anyway, if you're looking for something to hold your GoPro or to keep it steady while you're out playing around, to get a couple of shots of yourself, I use mine, like I say, I take it running with me, and it fits. Even with the camera on it, it just fits right in my running vest right there. I can pull it out, set it up, get a few shots while I'm on the trail running, get shots of me running by, and, you know, panning shots and whatnot. I find it to be a pretty good handle. So there you have it. My two probably most used GoPro accessories. The RAM mount with a suction cup over here, and the Ultrapod version 1 invented in 1982. I've only owned it about 6 months, but I've just fallen in love with it. It's been fantastic. I love it. It's 12 bucks. It's made in the USA. So let me know if you guys have any mounts that you use that you think are better than others. Like I say, I've probably spent way too much money on ridiculous GoPro accessories only to find out that the $12 one is the one I use the most. So if you got any ideas or suggestions, leave them in the comments. If you're so inclined, click subscribe. That'd be great. Thanks. Hey, it's me, Quinn, Strayfoto. I started my website in 2009 over at strayfoto.com. Since then, I've done a bunch of blogs and a whole bunch of photography and some travel stuff and some river trips. If you like this video, go ahead and click the like button over here. And if you want to subscribe and see the new videos when I upload them, go ahead and click subscribe right here beneath me. Thanks for watching.